Disclaimer: the following video you're about to view only contains audio only, as it's from a wrestling radio show. If you're looking for wrestling video footage, you will not find that on this video. This wrestling radio show may contain strong language that may be offensive to those under the age of 18. If you're under the age of 18, please get permission from parents to listen to this episode. Enjoy, comment, and subscribe.
The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, interactive, covering the latest in wrestling and beyond. You're listening to the RCWR Show with your host, Lee Sanders.
And a very good Friday night to you all. This is the one and only, the Black Avenger, a.k.a. the Black Azrael, Lee Sanders, coming at you with a very special episode of the RCWR Show. It's our post show. We are covering the fallout just freshly removed from the Shine 7i pay-per-view. We have the chat room at Blog Talk Radio. That is open for you all right now. We just opened it up. Feel free to jump on in there when you get a moment. You can also take the time out to interact with us during the course of this episode by hitting us up on Twitter at Infinity1Prod. You can also take the time out to like us on Facebook. That's right, we got a pretty cool Facebook page where we try to give you a little bit of news you can use on there. Hit us up. It's at Infinity One Productions. All right, so we are just fresh off of the Shine 7i pay-per-view. And, I must say that for the most part, the card was fairly decent. I had a little bit of a problem with the way it ended tonight, as our main event match was Valkyrie's Reign taking on Amazing Kong. But overall, definitely a pretty decent pay-per-view. For those of you that are somewhat familiar with our coverage of Shine Wrestling, then you know what you can already expect. For those of you that are new, that may be listening to this for the first time, but you've been a long-time RCWR or Impact Showdown radio listener, well, this is one of our commitments. It's one of our New Year's resolution that we have made as we continue to show support for women's wrestling. And one of the promotions that we continue to cover on a regular basis every time they have an iPay-per-view event is Shine Wrestling. And this is actually our third time covering Shine Wrestling. And I must say, as I check out each Shine Wrestling event and I'm interacting with folks on the Facebook page and I'm interacting with folks that order the pay-per-view, which is exactly what I was doing tonight. And mad shout out to those of you that took the time to interact with me during the iPay-per-view event, especially those of you that may end up checking this out on the downloads. Thanks for checking it out, and hopefully you appreciate this great post show here. It's just one of those things. We just have to continue the coverage. And if you support women's wrestling, you love women's wrestling, this is definitely a promotion that you'll want to check out. If you're new to it, haven't checked it out yet, they got great pricing packages. I mean, you can watch a live stream for just $10. That's it. Just $10. And that's if you order the day before the event. Little FYI for you, in Shine Wrestling, they actually let you know this. If you order it for just streaming only, watch it from your desktop, portable device, whatever, then it's $10. But if you try to order it the day of the pay-per-view, that's where it's going to get a little bit more pricier. It's still the best inexpensive price as far as all their packages go, but you're going to end up paying a little bit more the day of the pay-per-view, as they're going to want $15. So just a little FYI for you guys. Do you want to do $10 or do you want to do $15? There's really no rocket science right there. Everybody is willing to save a little bit of extra money. Who doesn't want to save a little bit of money? All right, so let's talk about tonight's pay-per-view. Let's kick it up from the very top for you guys. As I had sat up, I did a little bit of everything tonight. I was providing personally live results for you all, for those of you that were not able to order this event. And I was kicking back and interacting with those that were checking this out. Of course, we saw something major happen at this pay-per-view, and we got to start off by giving you guys these Shine Wrestling results. We got to start huge. Let's go where it counts the most. We heard the rumblings all week that somebody was getting ready to make their Shine Wrestling debut. Now, we heard that we got Lefisto and a couple of other people that were making their debuts here tonight, but it was the breaking news that Shine Wrestling had announced on their website and their Facebook page that they had acquired a new talent who was going to be making her appearance tonight. And folks, it doesn't get any bigger than this. A lot of people thought maybe it was going to be TNA former employee Rosita. Some people thought maybe it was possibly going to be Beth Phoenix. Well, was kind of around the right area, as it was none other than former TNA Knockouts champion, former Beautiful People member, Angelina Love. That's right, folks. The one and only Angelina Love has signed on with Shine Wrestling. It was truly the WTF moment of the night. Great, solid moment at that. You know, a lot of folks, including myself, have been very passionate, very vocal about Angelina Love continuing her wrestling career. Some of us have wanted to see her go into the WWE, but it looks like that's not what she had in mind, and looks like she has her eyes set on Shine Wrestling, and she was very brief with the appearance that she made tonight. Now, she did share some very interesting news with the fans in attendance, which was she's going to be making her wrestling debut at the next Shine pay-per-view, and that's going to be happening March 23rd. That is where she'll be making her wrestling debut. But she had addressed the fans that were asking her when was she going to go to Shine Wrestling. Would she consider going to a promotion such as Shine Wrestling? And she admitted that she thought about it, weighed in her options, and she thought that Shine Wrestling provided her the best opportunity possible, and that she was looking forward to having a pretty great career with the promotion. Now, unfortunately, this little bit of news that we had got, major news at that, was interrupted by Valkyrie, as Rain had led her pack of she-wolves, if that's what you want to call it, and Rain, very heated words with Angelina Love, telling her that Shine Wrestling is all about women that are of today, that are of the future, and that Angelina Love, her 5 minutes, honey child, been gone, and that she needs to leave the ring if she knows what's good for her. And Valkyrie members, they all surrounded the ring. It looked like it was going to become very ugly right here. Well, we ended up seeing Angelina Love leave the ring, but she had a little smile on her face. Kind of gave me a little bit of an impression here that maybe possibly, just possibly, we could end up seeing Angelina Love get into some type of a feud with Rain. Maybe she's going to get into it with Valkyrie. Who knows? But I'll be touching up a little bit more on that in a later part of the show. But talk about breaking news right there. This was definitely the pay-per-view to watch, as we had got this huge shocker right here. Let's talk about some of the matches that we had got. We did pretty good, too, man. We had got a grand total of 7 matches. Our first match was Brittney Savage, as she had took on a returning Heidi Lovelace. Now, for those of you that know your women's wrestling, you know Heidi Lovelace. She was down there in OVW for a little bit, and she had actually won the championship down there. She had an impressive 58-day reign as champion, but at some point out, she wasn't really used properly down there. Now, she ended up losing that title on the December 8th edition of OVW, where she had lost it to, I believe it was Taylor Hendricks that she lost it to. Don't quote me on that. My mind's a little rusty right now. Actually, no, correction. She actually dropped the title to Taryn Terrell. It's coming back to me now after special guest referee Taylor Hendricks had cost her the match. And it was the December 8th edition of OVW that Heidi ended up losing to her in a number one contender match. So that kind of gives you a little bit of insight on what all had been happening with her. But she's pretty much been testing the independent circuit since 2010, and definitely a good moment if you've been a fan of hers as she made her return. But, you know, the way that this all had played out, she had took on Brittney Savage, who looked like, unfortunately, she had got one too many plastic surgeries done on her face and lips. She just really looked it was kind of scary to kind of look at her at times. But this definitely was not a strong opener of a match. I thought that this match in itself was definitely pretty bad. I mean, Brittney Savage, she wasn't really taking any bumps. Heidi Lovelace was unfortunately doing all the work. And if you know Heidi Lovelace, you know that she's definitely a all-around great wrestler. She's got those couple of years of in-ring veteran there. And, I was really, really sad to see Lovelace pick up a defeat at the hands of Savage. A lot of us just felt, and I definitely was paying attention to a lot of what you all were saying on Twitter. I also paid attention to what you all were saying in the chat room as we were watching the event. And I definitely couldn't agree with you more, guys. Brittney definitely had no business picking up that win right there. But, hey, call that the power of the booking right there. But I think we can all be in agreement that Heidi Lovelace should have picked that up. But the way I looked at some of these matches that had came about tonight, I graded them from a scale of 1 to 5. And with regards to this particular match, I definitely would have to jump out there and say that this match, to kick things off, a 1.5 out of 5. And that's probably the lowest I have given a Shine match so far since we've been covering it. Well, we saw a little bit of redemption with our second match of the night, as it was a triple threat match as Tina San Antonio, a.k.a. TSA, had took on La Rosa Negra from Ring Warriors and took on Latasha. That was your triple threat match right there. Damn good triple threat match where we saw Tina San Antonio pick up the win. Now, in our third match, we saw the one and only Santana, who had took on Jessie Bale. This definitely was one of the best matches of the night. It was one of 3 best matches of the entire night. I mean, these two girls, they just kept exchanging hold for hold. We saw Fuji arm bars coming all out there, hammerlock, sharpshooters. I mean, we just saw some crazy stuff that was going on in this match. Santana actually ended up picking up the win over Jessie. This match definitely fairly good. I gave it a 3 out of 5. Definitely one of the best matches of the night. Now, Shine Wrestling commentator Lenny Leonard. That's a tongue twister, guys. Forgive me for that. And the lovely Daphne. And for anybody that wants to know, Daphne was just off the chain tonight with her commentating. I mean, she was just hilarious. There was actually a funny spot that had happened during that Santana versus Jessie Bale, where we saw Jessie Bale come into the ring, and she did a very nice sexual split entrance into the ring, and it pissed off Daphne to no end. She said, "What the fuck? I know you didn't just do that," and she literally took off her shoe. She was ready to get it on with her, and she said, way to respect your elders, show some respect where it's due. It was definitely some hilarious stuff right there, and it was kind of like a running gag almost throughout the whole night as we saw a few Shine wrestlers come and kind of make fun of the way Daphne used to do her little entrance. We even saw Nikki Roxx take a little quick pop shot at Daphne there. It was funny. But we saw Lenny Leonard and Daphne. They had broke out some huge news. Now, they had applauded the Shimmer promotion for working with them, and they talked about how they loved having the Shimmer title make an appearance, as it was up for grabs. It did. There was a Shimmer match that had went down at a Shine pay-per-view a couple of months back. Well, you know, WrestleCon is just around the corner, folks, and it's going to be one of the biggest events as it's shadowing WrestleMania 29. And WrestleCon is going to be running from April 5th through the 7th. And looks like Shimmer will be having their iPay-per-view debut. I repeat, Shimmer Wrestling will be having their iPay-per-view debut. Now, at the event, Awesome Kong, or a.k.a. Amazing Kong, she'll be in action as she'll be facing Maya Yim. Yoko Imada will be taking on Athena. Again, all this is going to be going down in New Jersey, just 3 miles from WrestleMania 29. So if you are not going to be able to take part in WrestleMania 29, hey, you got the next best thing that's going on, as this is something that only happens once a year, WrestleCon. So I'm sure more information will become available as we'll start to see more of a full card for what we can expect, as Shimmer isn't going to be the only ones that's going to be having a iPay-per-view that weekend. A whole lot of other wrestling promotions are going to be having iPay-per-view events. A whole lot of them are going to be running events all in the surrounding New Jersey area there. And, of course, we over here at the RCWR show, as we are going into WrestleMania weekend, will definitely be doing our part to hook you boys and girls up with the latest venues that's going to be going down, all in the name of making sure you are able to enjoy some great freaking wrestling. If you're not able to go to WrestleMania 29, hey, you might be able to go to WrestleMania 29. Maybe you might be able to go to all these events. Who knows? But we definitely will have you covered on that. And, of course, we also got an update on what all was going on between Rebby Sky and Jessica Havoc, who were obviously missing tonight. No cameos from these two girls. Their rivalry has just been going back and forth for months now, as you all know, you veteran Shine Wrestling fans know, as Lenny had recapped the events that went down at the last Shine Eye pay-per-view. Well, folks, it turns out March 23rd, at a special start time of 7:30 p.m. Eastern. This is on a Saturday, mind you. Rebby Sky is going to be putting her career on the line. That's right. Now, if Rebby loses, then she's gone from Shine Wrestling. But if she wins, Havoc has to stand in the middle of the ring, shake her hand, and give her the long overdue respect that she deserves. So that should be a very interesting pay-per-view in itself, one of the main events that we get to look forward to. All right, let's talk about some of the other matches that we had got tonight. You know, we saw Valkyrie's Ivelisse in action as she took on Lefisto, who made her debut for the Shine Wrestling promotion tonight. This was actually damn good. This was, and I'm not even kidding you guys, this was my first time watching a Lufisto match, and I did just a little bit of brief homework on her. I definitely have a long ways to go. I'm not going to even try to fake like I know who she is and all that. I am definitely new to this person. I love what I saw in the ring, though. I mean, she is freaking phenomenal. Now, for those of you that don't know Lufisto, she's a French-Canadian professional wrestler, and she began her training at the age of 17 out in Quebec, Canada, in her hometown. And she had originally made her wrestling debut in the St. Leonard, Austin, Quebec, using the ring name Lucifer. So, I mean, she's pretty much been active in wrestling since 1997. She's 33 years old, and she's done some work for Combat Zone Wrestling. She's also done some work for Shimmer, and she's done some work for NCW Femmes Fatales. So it kind of gives you a little bit of insight into what it is that she's been doing. And a little side note, I thought this was very interesting. You know, she has a university certificate in multimedia design and graphics and desktop application. Kind of a nice little thing to know right there. So sister has got it all going on in the head, aside from being a fantastic wrestler. The thing I liked most about this particular match was that of all the matches that we saw tonight, the crowd was really into this one. And I mean, Lefisto was just doing one hell of a freaking job getting them into this. And Ivelisse, she's just been, I've just been enjoying her work these past two Shine pay-per-views. She has just really, really been proving to me in my mind that WWE, they made a huge mistake letting her go. But hey, what's WWE's loss is Shine's game, and they've been utilizing the hell out of her well. Now, unfortunately for you hardcore Lefisto fans, she did not win in her Shine Wrestling debut. As Valkyrie members, they had played a very critical role in the final seconds of this bout, caused a very huge distraction, which resulted in the members doing a little bit of shenanigans to help Ivelisse pick up a upset victory over Lufisto. But Lufisto, great outing in her Shine Wrestling debut. All right, now one of the other matches that we had got tonight was a six-women's tag match, as we had saw Made in Sins, Taylor Made, Allysin Kay, April Hunter, a.k.a. Valkyrie again, and this was definitely the night of the Valkyrie. They had took on and defeated Sue Young, Tracy Taylor, and Maya Yim. Definitely a good tag match right here. In case you kind of noticing here, it looks like so far all the members that are of Valkyrie, they have gone into their respective matches, and they've picked up the big W. This stable was just on freaking fire tonight, and it was just so funny how some people were reacting to seeing them. I mean, some people pointed out that this is like the next evolution of the Four Horsemen, just a female version of them. Some were pointing out that this is the female version of Evolution, and this is definitely Shine's Nexus / the Shield / all the other stables that you could possibly think of. These girls were just on a freaking roll. One of my favorite matches of the night involved one of my Twitter buddies, Nikki Roxx. She had took on Mercedes Martinez. That was, without a doubt, one of the best matches of the entire card for tonight. I have to give that match, respectively, a 4 out of 5 out of 5. It was definitely one of the best matches for tonight. If I were to just pick one match I would like for you guys to try to check out on your own chill time, it would definitely be this particular match right here. These two girls, of course, they briefly went at it last month. I mean, these girls, they go outside of Shine Wrestling. They've wrestled each other a couple of times, many times before. So these girls, they got each other down, to basically put it. And but you know, this was a damn good match right here. We saw a lot of near falls. That's just how intense this match was. Surprisingly, we had got a last woman standing match, and when I say surprising in a way where it didn't quite live up to what many had expected. A lot of folks were under the impression that for this particular match, it was going to be must-see TV. It was going to be truly exciting. It was going to be one that folks were just going to be able to kick back and say, man, this was worth it, because these two girls, they've been going at it for so many months. Oh, man, so glad this came about. It wasn't even that type of a match. It was unfortunately a snoozer of a match. One thing I thought was kind of interesting was we saw Leva. She came out, and it was funny. She came out in a Scarecrow-inspired outfit from Batman Begins. She looked pretty damn sexy in the outfit too, and it was okay. I must say it was nice little outfit. But the match wise, I really couldn't wait for it to be over. Leva actually ended up picking up the win, but post-match, Kimberly just went all nutty and was just attacking the hell out of her, grabbed her mask afterwards, so you're kind of under the impression right here that maybe the next thing Kimberly is going to do is start getting acquainted with that scarecrow mask. I don't know, maybe that's going to be another part of her weird persona. Who knows there, folks? But looks like these two girls are not done, not by a long shot. Of course, in our main event match, it was Rain from Valkyrie taking on Amazing Kong. This was Amazing Kong's second Shine Wrestling event. This match, unfortunately, it wasn't quite up to par with some of the previous matches that we've come to know and love of Amazing Kong being in, as really this was just about furthering along the strength of Valkyrie, as Valkyrie played a very critical role in the final few seconds of this bout, as the referee, he took a nasty little bump. He was out cold for a bit. Valkyrie members, they all tried to jump in there, and they tried to beat down Amazing Kong. She was doing a pretty good job taking them all out. Then at one point, we see Rain. She grabs a steel chair, and it's looking as if maybe she's about to hit Kong with it. Instead, she slams it on the mat real hard, and then she just drops to her back and starts screaming ouch as she tries to get the ref's attention, who's now starting to come around. And once the ref sees the steel chair and he sees Awesome Kong just standing there, he just rings the bell and gives the win to Rain. And Kong is just looking shocked as fuck, as she can't believe what just went down. Valkyrie members, they all got back in post-match, and they just proceeded to beat her down. It was looking like a 5-6-on-1 right there when we saw all the other Shine wrestlers, the baby faces that is, they all came out to Kong's aid, but Valkyrie, they quickly had made their exit. But you can't help but wonder right here what is going to come next for Shine Wrestling, as the way this is kind of looking right now. I think we could end up seeing Valkyrie in some type of a, maybe it's going to be a 10-woman tag match, who knows. But this was definitely the Valkyrie pay-per-view. That's how I'm dubbing it right now. These girls just dominated big time. Now, let me go back to something that I had said earlier tonight. I was talking about Angelina Love. You know, it's highly likely that we could see Angelina Love try to align herself with Amazing Kong. And, you know, honestly, what better way to get major attention for Angelina Love than to have her get paired up with Amazing Kong, and they could try to bring it to Valkyrie. I think with regards to the next Shine Wrestling event that we're going to end up seeing, I think it could play out in a way where maybe Angelina Love may come out to the rescue during a Awesome Kong match, or Amazing Kong. Forgive me, I'm so used to calling her Awesome Kong. I'm just going to go with that for the rest of tonight's show. But I think she may end up interfering in a match involving Awesome Kong, where Valkyrie is once again playing a numbers game. And, just think about it right there. That would be a good match in itself, to see Amazing Kong, Angelina Love, Nikki Roxx, Maya Yim, maybe even Jessica Havoc. I know a lot of people have been wanting to kind of see her get paired up with Awesome Kong there. That would be a nice little setup. But, overall tonight, pay-per-view was definitely good. I would definitely jump out there and say that it's a buy. I actually really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a little bit more than the last Shine pay-per-view. But my favorite highlights of the night, it would definitely have to go, out of the 7 matches, it would definitely have to go to the 6-woman tag match with Maiden Sins, Taylor Made, Allysin Kay, April Hunter as they took on Su Yung, Tracy Taylor, Maya Yim. That was definitely a good match. And that for that respective match, that's definitely a 4 out of 5. For the Ivelisse versus LuFisto, that was definitely another good match. That's definitely a 4 out of 5 type of match right there. That was pretty damn good. And, of course, Nikki Roxx taking on Mercedes Martinez. That got the highest rating possible for the whole night. 4 out of 5 out of 5. That was another good match. I would just cherry pick those three. If you ask me if it's worth getting on DVD, if you're a hardcore Shine Wrestling fan, you may just try to end up putting this into your collection regardless. I would definitely, at this point, I wouldn't say it's a own on DVD, but I will jump out there and say that it is worth streaming to catch it. So I do recommend catching the replay. If you're going for that sentimental value, like I said, this was the pay-per-view that I'm looking at. I'm dubbing it as the Valkyrie pay-per-view. Now, if you're thinking from a sentimental standpoint, sentimental value, then you may want to own it that way. But if you don't care about sentimental value, definitely you just want to watch it. No reason to own it. So catch the replay as soon as it becomes available. And, folks, that is going to do it. I want to give you guys some quick programming notes, let you guys know what we got planned for this weekend. We got a jam-packed busy weekend. Now, we're going to be doing our weekend edition of the RCWR show. It's going to be happening at 2 p.m. Eastern, and I'm going to be joined by a very, very special guest, the one and only Lisa Snyder from Live with Lisa, and she has her own radio show where she covers sports, but she gives it a very nice approach. She approaches it from a woman's perspective. As we all know, there's some sports that women just can't really seem to get into because they don't quite understand what all is going on. And she has a very nice, laid-back, very smooth approach to getting women into sports. She's going to join me for a special edition of the RCWR show where we're going to be talking about the latest development that's going on with the Olympic Committee as they are looking to eliminate pro wrestling from their 2020 Olympic Games. And this just has people in a huge freaking uproar. We've already seen professional athletes protest. We've seen Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle lead the protests on, trying to get people to let their voices be heard and protest and let the committee hear it. And she's definitely going to be stopping by, and we're going to be talking about it, and she's going to offer you guys ways of helping out and convincing the Olympic Committee that they're making a huge mistake by getting rid of pro wrestling. Now, mind you, this is pending, but keep in mind, they have not released an official statement saying why they want to eliminate it. It just looks like they're doing it for the hell of it. It's going to be a very interesting show, so check that out. And, of course, we'll have the very latest in WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor wrestling news, entertainment news, everything that you've come to expect on our weekend edition of the RCWR show. So make sure that you check that out. It's going to be this Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Also, Sunday night, immediately after UFC 157 goes off the air, you want to make sure that you hop on to blogtalkradio.com and you catch us as we're going to be doing a very special RCWR Post Show. We're going to be covering the fallout from UFC 157, and you know that this is going to be one of historic proportions, as we're going to be seeing that women's championship there on the line, as Rusi is going to be taking on Kamaruch. That's going to be one fantastic freaking match right there. So join us for that. Our chat room will be open. Phone lines will be open. If you're an MMA fan, hey, you definitely want to make sure you check that post show out. Chime in your thoughts on what you thought of the event. If you're not able to order it on pay-per-view, have no fear. We're going to be providing live results all throughout the night, leading right on up to when we come on the air. So have no fear. We got you covered, boys and girls. All right, and that is going to do it, folks. Hey, I really hope you had enjoyed our coverage of tonight's Shine 7 iPay-per-view. This has been the one and only, the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders. I am wishing you guys to be safe and be kind to one another, folks. We'll see you in just a handful of hours, as it's now 12 a.m. over here on the East Coast. We'll see you at 2 p.m. Eastern for our weekend edition of the RCWR show. Be kind, rewind. Any episodes that you might have missed, they're available in our archive section. Check them out. You can get them on your respective portable devices. Check them out on Stitcher, iTunes, and in the Zoom marketplaces. Just use the keywords, the RCWR show. That's going to do it, folks. Be safe, be kind to one another. We'll see you in a little bit. Do take care.